You know, sister, there are things we were never told. Deep truths, tender, human truths, especially as women. Things so personal, so vulnerable, that society buried them like they were too messy, too real to talk about. When we were younger, people spoke freely of love, desire, closeness. But as we aged, silence wrapped itself around us. Suddenly, no one dared ask, can a woman at 60 or 70 still touch herself without shame? Maybe you've wondered that yourself, late at night, wondering if these feelings that still linger are wrong, or maybe still beautifully right. Is it odd that you still crave connection? That you still feel something even if it's different now? If that quiet question ever crossed your heart, let me say this loud and clear. You are not alone. I'm a urologist. I've worked with thousands of postmenopausal women. And again, I've seen the same quiet heartbreak. Almost 90% of older women live with this heavy silence, this shame, this aching disconnect from their own body. What they never hear is that masturbation, the very act we were taught to hush, is not only normal. It might just be one of the most healing acts of your later life. But only if you learn the truth. The kind of truth someone should have gently whispered to you decades ago. Today, I want to share 7 deeply human truths, ones every older woman deserves to know. And if even a single part of this message touches you, just leave a comment below. Right. I wish I'd known this sooner. That one simple sentence might be the light another woman has been silently searching for. If this resonates, hit the like button and subscribe if you want more honest, gentle truths like this every week. And now, if you're sitting alone, maybe with your thoughts, make yourself a warm drink. Sit beside me. Because some stories, they're only ever told between women. Secret 1. Masturbation isn't just for the young. Yes, it's not some young man's secret pleasure. It shifts with time. I'll never forget a moment. It stays with me even now. A 71-year-old woman sat across from me, hands nervously twisting in her lap, before she softly said, "Doctor, something feels off. I still feel things, but I don't feel comfort anymore. I don't feel peace like I used to. Am I doing something wrong? Should I even still be doing this?" I took her hand, looked into her eyes, and told her the words every older woman deserves to hear. No, you're not doing anything wrong. Nothing is broken. Your body is simply asking you to love it differently. So many older women believe that self-pleasure is reserved for younger bodies, for skin still electric with hormones, for lust that's bold and fast. And when sensation becomes duller, less intense, they start to believe something's wrong. Or worse, that they are wrong, that there's shame in it. But here's the truth. Pleasure doesn't vanish with age. It transforms. It becomes slower, softer. It asks for presence, for reverence. And if we don't understand this shift, the act can leave us feeling hollow, disconnected, even guilty. I remember the voice of a 67-year-old widow, 12 years alone. She told me, "I just feel empty afterward. I think maybe I'm too old to feel anything anymore." But she wasn't. She just didn't know how her body had changed. She wasn't broken, just uninformed. The pleasure that once came quickly, like a gust of wind, now moves like a slow tide. Your nervous system, your hormones, your skin, everything has changed. Urgency is no longer welcomed. Your body now craves tenderness, time, attention. It wants you to touch it the way a loving partner would. Slowly, deeply, without expectation. This isn't weakness. This is the wisdom of the body asking to be honored. The women who were brave enough to try again, this time with gentleness and grace, told me the same thing. If only I'd known this 20 years ago, I wouldn't have carried so much shame. Because by now, it's not about release, It's about ritual. It's about meeting yourself again after decades of silence. It's about touching your body, not to perform, not to climax, but simply to feel. But even once you learn to slow down, even once you breathe deeper, there's still one subtle thing that can rob your joy. A quiet disruptor of pleasure. One you probably never even noticed. Something that used to feel exciting when we were young. But now, it only dulls us. We'll talk about that in the next part. But if you're still here, still listening, and this message stirred something in you, leave that small, powerful comment. I wish I'd known this sooner. Because that one line might be exactly what another woman needed to find her way home to herself. Asterisk secret 2. Porn is quietly rewiring your brain and not in your favor. This is one of the toughest truths to face, but also one of the most vital. Over the years, I've spoken with countless older women mothers, wives, caretakers, pillars of their families, who had no idea that modern pornography was quietly altering their minds, their desires, and even their nervous systems. And the most heartbreaking part? It's not helping them feel more alive. It's doing the opposite. I remember a woman, 69 years old, retired nurse, proud mother of 3. She sat across from me and said, almost ashamed, I try to feel, but I can't. The desire is there. I'm still curious, but the feeling? It's hollow. When I asked more, she admitted she'd been using adult videos online to try and jumpstart her arousal. She thought it would help, but over time, instead of reigniting her spark, it smothered it. That's when it clicked, something most older women were never warned about. Repeated exposure to fast, extreme, artificial sexual content, like porn, can silently rewire the brain. It hijacks your dopamine system. That's the chemical that fuels joy, pleasure, anticipation, and emotional bonding. But when bombarded with overstimulation, your brain begins to crave more of the same, more intensity, more speed, more extremes. And what happens? The gentle, real sensations of touch, memory, and imagination start to feel flat. Your skin doesn't tingle like it used to. Your fantasies feel muted. And what used to bring comfort now feels mechanical and empty. Many women told me the same story. The more they watched, the more disconnected they became. They would touch themselves the way they always had, but something was missing. No joy, no emotion, just a repetitive act that left them tired and hollow. And then they began to wonder, maybe I'd just aged out of pleasure. But here's the truth. Your body is not too old. It's just that your brain may have adapted to artificial stimulation, and it's forgotten how to recognize the richness of real, slow, human connection. But there's good news. The brain is astonishing. It can recover. It can relearn. And when some women took even a short break from porn, a few days, a couple of weeks, they noticed something miraculous. Their sensitivity returned. Their emotions began to stir again. Instead of feeling numb, they started to feel warm, present, alive. They turned inward to memories, to soft fantasies, to the rhythm of their breath, and their bodies responded. One woman told me, tears in her eyes, I didn't know I could still tremble from that kind of emotion. And that moment, that trembling joy, is your birthright, no matter your age. But even once you've reawakened your body, even when you've reclaimed your sensitivity, there's still one quiet, underestimated factor, something small, but incredibly powerful, that can decide whether self-pleasure becomes a source of deep nourishment, or just leaves you feeling depleted and distant. And most women? They've never been told what it is. That's secret 3. Stay with me. Secret 3. Masturbation isn't just pleasure. It's pelvic and hormonal medicine. We'll explore this next truth together. The right kind of self-touch can actually improve vaginal health, bladder control, and hormone balance. Sound surprising? You're not alone. I've seen women lean back in their chairs, wide-eyed, saying, "Why has no one ever told me this?" And I get it. Most of us were raised in a world where even whispering about female pleasure invited shame. Conversations about women and their bodies were either judged or ignored. No one ever told us that masturbation, when done gently and mindfully, can improve vaginal elasticity, enhance blood flow, reduce dryness, and lower the risk of urinary leakage after menopause. Let me tell you about a patient I'll never forget. She was 74, widowed. After her husband's funeral, she stopped connecting with her own body. At my age, what's the point? She asked. But a few years later, she returned to my office with new complaints: vaginal irritation, dryness, pressure in her pelvis, and early signs of incontinence. I looked her in the eyes and gently said what most women have never heard. Avoiding your intimate self for too long can actually cause real physical issues like weakened bladder muscles, tissue thinning, and reduced blood flow. That's not aging. That's disconnection. And the beautiful truth is, it's reversible. When masturbation becomes part of a loving, respectful ritual, it isn't indulgence, it's therapy. It's self-preservation. It helps keep the vaginal tissues supple. It exercises the pelvic floor. It brings life back into the very parts we were told to ignore. But here's where some women get it wrong. More isn't better. Some, in an effort to heal, end up using too much pressure, going too fast, too often without rest, without moisture, without tuning in to how their body feels. That doesn't heal. That harms. Because like any part of your body, your most intimate self doesn't respond to force. It responds to care, to slowness, to curiosity. It's like tending a quiet garden. Gentle hands, patient time, and deep listening. And when older women stop seeing masturbation as a guilty pleasure and instead treat it like their skincare routine or regular checkups, something sacred, something essential, everything changes. It becomes an act of respect, of dignity, of staying connected to life itself. And when that shift happens, the shame disappears. In its place, peace, warmth, gratitude. So many women tell me, "I wish I'd known this sooner." And every time I hear it, I smile because I've heard it so many times before. But even if you've already begun caring for your body with kindness, there's still a deeper level to explore, one that doesn't live in your skin, but in your heart. And that may be the most healing layer of all. Let's open it together in the next secret. And if you're still with me on this journey, leave a 1 in the comments. Just that. It means more than you know. Secret 4. This isn't just physical. It's emotional healing. This truth touches the soul. Because for many older women, self-touch isn't just about sensation. It carries a lifetime of silence, guilt, and longing that was never spoken aloud. Most women I've met have spent decades tending to everyone else, raising children, caring for aging parents, showing up for husbands, jobs, households. But in the process, they slowly drifted away from their own bodies. They forgot about the soft glow of desire that still flickered inside. No one ever told them that masturbation isn't just a physical act. It can be emotional nourishment, a way to soothe your own heart with your own hands, especially for those who've lost a partner, lived in long silence, or never felt safe enough to say, "I still have needs too." Touching yourself gently, with no shame, is often the last quiet thread connecting you to your own life force. I remember a woman, 68 years old, widowed for nearly 15 years. She told me in a near whisper, "Sometimes I touch myself, but only with the lights off, so no one knows." She spoke like someone confessing a crime. And when I looked her in the eye and said, "What you're doing is not wrong. It's not dirty. It's deeply human and unbelievably brave," her eyes filled with tears. No one's ever told me that, she said. Do you see, sister? At this age, masturbation isn't about lust. It's not about wild fantasy. It's about coming home to your own body. About saying, I'm still here. I haven't abandoned you. It can calm anxiety. It can help you fall asleep when nothing else works. It can reconnect you to a sense of presence that even medication or therapy can't always reach. And when you finally strip away the guilt, the secrecy, the belief that this is only for the young, you'll realize something powerful. This can be one of the most healing acts you've ever known. Because most women have lived their entire lives disconnected from their own touch. They've learned to give, but not to receive. They've feared being vulnerable with themselves. But once you give yourself permission to return, to touch, to feel, you'll likely whisper the same question I've heard so many times. Why didn't anyone tell me this when I was younger? And then a new question arises, one even more beautiful. What if the changes I see in my body aren't signs of decline, but gentle invitations to experience a new kind of intimacy? Let's walk through that door together in the next part. Secret 5. Arousal evolves with age, and that's not failure. It's transformation. The changes in your intimate responses aren't defects. They're nature unfolding in real time. This is one of the most vital truths no one ever taught us. For decades, women have been told that a good woman is always available, always eager, always responsive, always there to meet someone else's needs. But no one ever told us what to expect when our own bodies begin to shift. No one prepared. You ask for what happens when arousal no longer shows up like it used to. I remember a 66-year-old woman, a retired teacher. She sat with flushed cheeks, barely able to make eye contact, and whispered, I don't feel anything anymore. Sometimes it even hurts. I feel like something's broken inside me. She believed her body had failed her. She thought she was no longer desirable, no longer whole. But what she was going through was not failure. It was normal, completely and absolutely normal. After menopause, estrogen levels fall, blood flow decreases, nerve endings become less sensitive. Vaginal tissue loses its softness and elasticity. These aren't malfunctions, they're part of the cycle. But here's what stays: the ability to feel pleasure, connection, and even intimacy. If you learn to meet your body where it is now. So many women spend years chasing the woman they used to be, her speed, her responses, her spark. But the magic happens when you stop chasing and start listening. When you stop trying to be her and start being you, as you are now. And in that surrender, a strange thing happens. The pressure lifts. There's no longer any need to perform, to climax, to get it right. Instead, what emerges is something even more powerful: presence. And for many women, it's the first time they've ever truly felt in their bodies. One woman told me, when I stopped judging myself, I had my first real experience of intimacy with myself and with my partner. That sentence still gives me chills. So if you're finding that your body responds differently, now if it takes longer, if it needs more warmth, more moisture, more gentle invitation, please hear this. You are not broken. You are evolving. This isn't a sign that something has been lost. It's a gentle opening, an invitation to discover a new kind of pleasure, slower, deeper, more healing than you've ever known. And even when you've accepted this new phase, there's still one sneaky myth that lingers, one harmful belief that whispers to many women. Masturbation drains your energy. It kills your desire. Let's tear that lie down together. Secret 6. Self-pleasure doesn't kill desire. It can bring it back to life. This one cuts deep, because it's a belief that's stolen so much joy from women, especially as they age. The idea that if I keep masturbating, I'll lose all desire. I'll feel weak. I'll wear myself out. I've had countless women ask me this, some with shame, others with fear. Am I doing it too often? I feel tired after. Maybe that's why I've stopped feeling anything for my partner. But here's what I wish someone had told them years ago. Self-pleasure, when done right, doesn't weaken you. It revitalizes you. When you approach it with slowness, with respect, with actual presence, not just to get it over with, but to connect, something powerful happens. Your hormones shift. Your blood flows. Your nervous system relaxes. Your brain lights up in places responsible for emotion, pleasure, and even memory. It's like reminding your body, hey, we're still alive. We still feel. We still matter. But the key is how you do it. When it's rushed, mindless, or just filling an emotional void, it can leave you empty. Not because it's wrong, but because you were never really there to begin with. But when it becomes a ritual, a return, a soft invitation, it shifts everything, every breath, every caress, every quiet heartbeat becomes a way of saying, I'm coming home to myself. I'll never forget one woman 70 years old who once said, I thought I should stop. I thought maybe I'd outgrown this. But when I did, I felt like I was fading away. I couldn't feel anything, not even alive. But then she began again, not with urgency, not with the old script. She touched herself with no goal, just presence. And slowly, her emotions came back. Her body softened. Her spark returned. I don't feel like I'm disappearing anymore, she told me. I feel like I'm coming back to life. And that, sister, is what I want for you. To know that desire doesn't belong to youth. It belongs to you in whatever season of life you're in. It's never too late to rediscover what pleasure feels like on your terms, in your rhythm, with your voice leading the way. And speaking of voice, our final secret has nothing to do with touch, hormones, or biology. It has everything to do with your truth and whether or not you give yourself permission to speak it. That's where we go next. Asterisk. Secret 7. You deserve to talk about this, and you're not alone. Secret 7. You have the right to speak, and you are not alone. Asterisk. This is the secret too many women carry in silence for a lifetime, never daring to say it out loud. From the time we were little girls, we were taught to stay quiet about our bodies, our desires, our curiosity, especially about self-touch. We were told it was shameful, that there was nothing to talk about, that we shouldn't ask, shouldn't wonder. Asterisk. And the older we got, the message only got louder. A proper woman doesn't talk about those things, especially not at her age. Asterisk. But let me tell you what I've seen after years of working with women in their 60s, 70s, even 80s. Something miraculous. When a woman finally gathers enough courage to say, I have a personal question. The first thing that happens is not shame. It's relief. Because for the first time in years, she doesn't have to pretend, doesn't have to act like she has no needs, doesn't have to carry all those questions alone. Asterisk. I once spoke with a 75-year-old widow. She'd lived alone for over a decade. She shared quietly that she still touched herself sometimes, not out of lust, but for closeness, for connection. She had never told a single soul, not once. And when I said, there's nothing shameful about that, your body is still yours. You have the right to listen to it and love it, she broke down in tears. No one's ever told me that in my entire life. Asterisk. You see, what you're feeling is normal. You are not broken. You are not alone. And you are definitely not crazy. You're simply aging. And aging brings change. Changes that require a new kind of care, a new kind of connection with yourself. Asterisk. And when women begin to speak, even just to a doctor, a trusted friend, or their own reflection in the mirror, the result isn't just answers, it's release. You feel lighter. more real, more connected, not just to your body, but to a heart that hasn't been truly heard in far too long. The truth is, there are things no medicine can heal, but honest conversation, sometimes it can, asterisk, and maybe, just maybe, this is your moment to begin one. Not just because you deserve it, but because you are never, ever alone. Asterisk, dear sister, age may slow us down, but it can never silence our longing to be understood, to reconnect with ourselves physically and emotionally. Asterisk, what you just watched, it wasn't just information. It was an invitation to come home to your body, to gently soothe old wounds, and to step into a new chapter of aging where you no longer feel ashamed of your very real, very human needs. Asterisk, if this video gave you something, a moment of peace, a sense of being seen, or a lesson your heart needed to hear, please let me know in the comments. I read every word. I'm always listening. And if you'd like to say thank you to the team that brought this video to life, or just want to help keep this kind of soulful content going, click the super thanks button below. Even the smallest gesture helps keep this space warm and alive. Before you go, don't forget, there are more videos on this channel waiting for you. Maybe one of them is exactly what your heart needs today. Asterisk, growing older isn't the end. It's the beginning of living more truthfully, with depth, tenderness, and a quiet pride no one can take from you. I'll be right here, waiting to sit with you again in our next conversation, where every new day is a new chance to love yourself even more.